Hi, Glenn here, the People's Carpenter, standing out here in the cottage that I'm very busily working on. But the things that I'm busy working on, namely digging and mixing concrete and making piles to provide extra support for these two rooms, because I wasn't really happy with the level of support that was there, but you'll see more about that in another video. It's taking a while. It's the kind of task where before you've really got anything to present, it probably takes a few weeks, or for me anyway. And I didn't want to make you wait that long. And I've been thinking there's a video that I shared on another channel of mine called Monster Guitars, which is all about building solid body electric guitars. Lots of fun, very cool. But I gave a short talking video there, and it's relevant to any setting, I think, where you are involved in creativity and you produce something that you then share with people, because the video is about criticism. You will receive criticism no matter how brilliant you are. I'm by no means great. Very few people are great. We have to say that. The threshold for greatness has to be quite high, because when everyone is great, greatness doesn't really mean anything, does it? But I'm quite good at what I do sometimes. But even then, when I do something good, I get criticized for it. You will too. Everyone does. By people who really are in no place to offer criticism, and most of what they say is rubbish. Anyway, here are my thoughts about that. Hi, Glenn here, Monster Guitars. Although this wasn't intentional, but I noticed that I'm actually wearing a t-shirt for the People's Carpenter, which is my other YouTube channel. Although, have I mentioned this on this channel before? I don't know. I probably should have, but Monster Guitars has t-shirts that you can buy. I will provide a link somewhere in this video, and I'll provide a link in the comments down below. Even if you don't like my guitars, they're quite cool t-shirts. So yeah, feel free to click on that link and just go ahead and get yourself one. I think they look cool. And this also is cool. This is a guitar that I recently finished and did a video about it. I decided to call it Old Brass. I decided that pretty early on during the process of building this guitar, because it's got these aged brass features, which are, well, I guess they're kind of a highlight of the guitar. When you refer to this guitar, you'll be like, oh yeah, that's the one with the brass parts, or at least that was my intention in putting them there. I love this guitar. I think it's a beautiful piece of work. I think it's well made. I think it feels very good to play. The neck is very comfortable. The setup is good. I think it sounds really nice as well. And I think that anyone who ends up owning this guitar will be very pleased with it. And I think that people who see them with this guitar will say something to the effect of, that's an unusual and very nice guitar. I haven't seen one like it. And you might think, oh, come on, Glenn, why are you sitting there praising your own work? Well, that's actually the point of this video. It's about criticism. I'm an incredibly self-critical person when it comes to just about everything I do. And that's good and bad. It's good in the sense that it pushes me to do better. But it's bad in the sense that I don't even recognize when I've done something good sometimes, and I'm really harsh with myself in ways that, as I say, can be useful, but can also be really unhelpful. You know, I feel bad about stuff that I've done even when it's good. And I know a lot of people are like that. I'm far from unique in that regard. I personally think it's better than having the opposite problem of thinking everything you do is amazing when it's just mediocre or rubbish. But I didn't want to talk about self-criticism in this video. I wanted to talk about the criticism of other people. The criticism that other people give you, whether you asked for it or not. I won't name the group, but this is just an example. I'm in a Facebook group actually, not just an internet group, a Facebook group for guitar luthiers. And the title indicates that it's a group for luthiers, and that's the description of the group. And every now and then I share some work that I've done there, and other people do as well. They'll be like, hey, here's a guitar that I'm working on, or they'll be there to ask a question about how to do something. Now, in this case, because I've shared a number of things there in the past, but In this case, the example that I'm thinking of, it had to do with the build of this guitar, and it was just after I decided that I was going to make that inlay feature on the back. It's something that I have done on a previous guitar, on an elm-topped Stratocaster type guitar, which is still not finished. It looks like this. I'll show you a photo if I can find one easily. And, well, my motive in doing that is that I just think it looks kind of quirky and cool, and it provides this sort of visual continuity with the front of the guitar, with the top as well. So now you've got these features made from sapele on the back that got the same kind of wood as on the front. It just kind of looks cool, but there's a bit of technique involved in creating that recess and that inlay, so that's what I was sharing. So, and I shared a photo of the inlay, and I didn't really expect it. I mean, I should have, because this group is what it is, and the internet is what it is, and guys are what they are. But it got all sorts of comments. By far, most of the comments were along the lines of, I just love the sound of rain. I don't know if I'm a pluviophile. Pluviophiles love rain. I just love the sound of rain. Most of the comments were very positive. They were like, hey, that's a cool, quirky idea. Sure, why not? A point of difference. Or they commented on the fact that the joint was well executed. But most of the comments were actually negative. And I don't feel bad about the fact that they were negative, because I know that it looks cool. But I do want to comment on it because of the way that it might affect a lot of people when they experience criticism. I've got some notes here because I took examples of sort of criticisms that were there. I just want to, not because these particular criticisms are important, but, well, when you hear what some of them are, you'll see why I'm sharing them. One of them said, well, actually quite a few of them said, it looks like a repair. I would avoid it. And initially, I made the mistake of giving some of these criticisms too much credit. I said, how does it look like a repair? What do you mean? And they said, well, it looks like you did something wrong. They didn't really say what. And this was the only way that you could hide it. And for the life of me, I can't really think of any sort of damage where this would be the only way to hide it. And in the end, I said, well, okay, if I had some sort of catastrophe and completely destroyed the surface here with huge gouges and breaks and whatnot, I guess this would conceal that. Not that I would really object to that, because it still looks great, but I said no, it's not, and I'm actually making a video about the build of this guitar so you can see that it's not. But that was interesting, and as though to prove a point to me, someone had to definitely show me that it does look like a repair. He said it looks like a repair job he did on his headstock, where he damaged it and patched it, and he showed me this photo as proof. Now, you can decide for yourself just how much this resembles that, but there you are. Someone said, it's a lot of steps. Well, yeah. Building guitars is a lot of steps. Doing anything artistic is a lot of steps. You have to, but okay, yeah. Point granted. It is a number of steps. Someone said that looks like it's not in the center, and he's right. It's not. I suppose I should just thank him for the observation, but it's not in the center, as though that's a criticism. The body is not symmetrical either. Is that a criticism? I wouldn't have thought so, but okay. Factual observation, it's not in the center. A lot of the comments were just asking why. I'd already said that I thought it looked good, and I explained the visual continuity thing, but then people would say things like, but why? Is the inlaid wood stronger than the wood for the rest of the body? No, you wouldn't. People add decorative inlays to any wooden product they've made. It's not to make things stronger, it's because they like the look of the inlay. Someone else said, what's the point? Just aesthetics? As though that wouldn't be a good reason. Why though? What's gained? Another comment. Lots of comments along these lines. And I thought, I don't know, do I find that attitude depressing? As though something has to have an immediate practical utility that makes the guitar work. Otherwise, why on earth would you do it? You know, just for fun, I clicked on the profile, because sometimes when people make comments, you think, who would say a thing like that? And you click on it to see who it was, and it was these guys who had guitars, and they were fine guitars. I think one of them was a Charvel, very plain, all painted white, no real interesting features on it. It was all designed to be an efficient speed machine, and nothing wrong with that at all. But I thought, okay, I guess I can see where that's coming from. Someone who, the only reason you would add something to his guitar is that it makes it easier to play fast, or it's efficient, or you can tune it more quickly, or something like that. It has utility. The idea of just making something for the sake of the beauty of it, like the multiple layers of this body, or the beveled edge. Why would you do any of that? It doesn't make you play faster. It doesn't make it sound better. And I don't know, I think our culture, not all parts of our culture, but some parts of our culture just don't really appreciate the inherent value of beauty as a good thing in itself. I would have thought guitar builders didn't fall into that camp, but I guess some do. Oh, someone else commented on the point of having an inlay there. He said, I don't think wood is better than metal. Looks nice, well, he gave me that, but I doubt it could take on a good beating. Would be nice if it was metal. I mean, no, a guitar body can't take a beating. If you start whacking it with something, you're going to damage it. But I don't think that's a good reason to just make guitar bodies out of metal. I didn't put it there for protection or to make things harder or more difficult to damage. It just looks good. And that was a concept that some people really wrestled with. Someone said, looks like a stain on it. I don't know how many stains they've seen, but it actually looks more like a different type of wood than a stain. Someone said, it defeats the purpose of having a bolt on. He did not elaborate on how it defeats the purpose of having a bolt on, but apparently it does. Someone helpfully elaborated, looks like an amateur DIY bodge job. I'd run a mile from that. Well, I'm glad my guitar would be good for his fitness, but, thanks. A few people commented on the fact that there was some damage to one of the screws that was in there at the time. If you watched the video of the making of this guitar, I went through several types of screw, several materials of screw, trying to find one that both had the right aesthetic and was hard enough. And when I took that photo, there was a softer brass one in there, and yeah, there was a little bit of damage to the surface of one of those. But someone commented on the fact that that's not exactly the work that I would expect of a luthier, and the fact that there was this damaged screw. My post was, here's this wood inlay, what do you think of it? And someone had gone looking through the photo to find something else that he didn't like. But I hope he felt good. He got to say something. Oh, and the same person said, there is a gouge taken out of that woodwork. And I thought, oh, is there? Well, that's not good. So I looked at the photo. There was nothing. I looked at the guitar. No, everything was smooth as a baby's bottom, as they say. There wasn't even a scratch, let alone a gouge. So I guess if you have not enough criticisms to make, you just start making them up. One person said that I should have plugged up the screw holes as well. And I was a bit confused. I said, well, if I plug up the screw holes, how am I going to attach the neck? I need those screws to go through the body. And he clarified, no, I mean, you should have recessed the screws and then glued in wood plugs over the top of the screws to conceal them. And that confused me even more. I said, so how would I remove the neck? And the answer he gave is that if I wanted to remove the neck at some point, I could chisel out the wood plugs. So in most cases, not all, not every case, but just about every case, these silly, negative, and in some cases just weird criticisms, like that last one about what I should have done, they weren't coming from people who were sharing the work that they were doing in this group. In fact, in at least a couple of cases, it became clear these were not people who build guitars at all. They just show up and offer opinions, and they kind of remind me, and I said this at the time just because I felt like being snarky, they kind of remind me of this mental image of a guy who sits on the couch eating a bag of potato crisps off his belly while he watches the Olympics and offers criticisms of gymnastic performances. Oh, that was rubbish. These people who do nothing but have a lot to say. Someone said, I wouldn't buy that. Okay. Don't buy it then. Why are you telling me this? I'm not going to feel the loss of someone on the other side of the world who's not going to buy this guitar. And this particular photo was just an example. A while ago I did a video on whether or not you really need to level your frets, in the sense of use a sanding beam and shave all your frets down, and I had some things to say about that. In fact, I'm going to do a follow-up video about that. I got lots of really good discussion on that. I even got some people contacting me with comments and questions, which is great. But even there, where I was just offering what was clearly quite helpful advice, you'd have people who just feel like they have to say something negative, no matter how silly it is, and so they'll say things like, you shouldn't go bashing your guitar with a hammer. I mean, that's true, and no one ever suggested that you should go bashing your guitar with a hammer. Or some guy said, and you see this all the time if you hang around forums on just about any subject, this guy who came around waving credentials, he said something like, I've been a guitar tech, not a guitar builder, but a guitar tech for 40 years, and I've never done that, and I get great results. Which is great. I'm glad you've had a good career, and I'm glad you've had good results, but with people like this, I usually say something like, why don't you try this and see if it works? And I get responses like, I don't need to try that to know that it doesn't work. Okay, well, that's one way of protecting yourself from finding out that you're wrong. Just don't try it. No more examples. The point is just this. And it's not just about guitar building, although it applies to guitar builders as well. Of course, you should be willing to take advice. Take advice from people that you have a reason to trust, people who seem to know what they're doing, people who can produce examples of their work. And when you're actually asking for advice too, then be open to it. When it seems to be designed to be helpful. Never be so arrogant that you assume that no one could ever tell you something that you didn't previously agree with, or something you didn't previously know about your craft. There will always be more to learn about new things that you haven't done, or ways to improve what you are doing. Always. But you have to recognize that places like Facebook groups with large memberships, which are full of men, young and old, and yeah, I do mean men, who just like to argue online. And the same is true of YouTube comments, where there are millions of people on YouTube, and anyone can say whatever they like. And usually the criticism is unsolicited, often it's clearly not very well informed. But in these situations, you have to just be aware that nearly all, not all, but nearly all of the criticism that you read is worthless. It just is. You cannot afford to take it on board or spend mental energy worrying about it. You can't. What kind of life would you have if you worried about every piece of criticism you ever heard? It's just some dude who is not well informed but feels like he has to offer you his 2 cents, and it's never actually worth 2 cents. Just make sure that you are pursuing excellence in what you do. You are spending mental energy learning your craft. You are seeking out sources of information and advice that you find helpful and encouraging, and if you can see that what you're making is beautiful and well executed, as I can, then don't let anyone talk you out of that knowledge. Just dismiss it, let it go, and spend your time instead making stuff.